When you hear the term Bushman, what images immediately pop into your mind? For me, it's the nickname we gave a classmate in high school, not because he was black, but because he was an alcoholic who would frequently sneak out of class to drink a Busch Light and then post about it on his Snapchats. I think he might be dead now. Personal experiences aside, I imagine most of you immediately thought of the almost Neolithic African peoples living in the region of the Kalahari Desert, who are often referred to as the San people, who actually consist of several different nations of people. Now, despite their lack of geographical benefits, like those found in the Mediterranean, the Bushmen are a people of firsts. For instance, they have the oldest gene pattern observed within any human population, and have one of, if not the, oldest human language characterized by the distinct clicking noise a bunch of poorly modeled echidnas made on VR chat back in 2018. Fuck what you think, that's still funny as shit even today. Like most other cultures in the world, the Bushmen have their own distinct mythology to explain their existence in an area of the world where most people would scream skywards wondering why God has forsaken them. Both surprisingly and unsurprisingly, water actually has very little in the way of influence over this creation story. In fact, the Bushman creation story actually differentiates itself from other cultures by essentially having a pre-existing world in which the animals, humans, and gods all sprang from. So, yeah, that makes things a little bit simpler. Essentially, all things originate from the first world, which is located deep underground from the world we know now. It was a wondrous place where there was always light despite the fact that there was no sun yet, and humans and animals were able to talk to one another, and all of creation worked together so that there was never any need or want. Despite this prosperity, the Bushman creator god, and I'm not shitting you, his name is Kang. Susan, please, I swear this video isn't an excuse to dig up some old, moderately racist memes, please. Kang desired a more perfect world above the surface, and so, while his creations were busy partying it up in Earth's proverbial basement, he was busy building a better world above ground where future generations would be able to grow and prosper with endless possibility. Let's see how they fucked this up. Kang began by creating a monumental tree whose branches reached out over all corners of the globe, and then built a new source of light called the sun, and then dug a hole straight down to where the first Earth was located and told the people and animals that it was time to come up and see the new world that he had created for them, which is just a tree and a sun. Some of the animals got a bit too eager and decided to climb all the way up into the branches of the trees, wherein they decided to take up permanent residence. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why monkeys live in trees. Supposedly. Once all of creation gathered under this tree, Kang told them all to coexist and prosper, though offered a stark warning to humanity, telling them that if they were to ever build a fire, a great calamity would befall them, and that this was literally the only thing they could do which would forever ruin creation for everyone. I'm getting a strange sense of deja vu mixed with another sense of deja vu, but I'm not exactly sure why. However, just like in the first world, it was always light outside, so there really wasn't any need for alternate sources of light. Yet. So the shape-shifting god of trickery, gee, where have I seen that before, named Kagan, or just Kagan, and his wife, oh sweet Jesus, Hontu Aten, more simply known as just Koti, had adopted the porcupine as their daughter, who in turn married the rainbow, who was in turn capable of shapeshifting into an Erdmenschen, or as you fools practicing far inferior languages might call it, a meerkat. Now, it's important to note that at this time, the Bushmen believed that human souls could both accidentally and purposefully slip out of their mortal coil and fall into the body of various different animals. So, with this ability not being totally exclusive to the gods, it is possible that this power of astral invasion was used in place of what we would typically call shape-shifting. In any case, the Rainbow, who is known as Kwamanga, was out and about one day when suddenly he lost a piece of his shoe which landed on Earth and was found by his father-in-law, taking the form of a mantis. Kagan took the shoe scrap and soaked it in a pool of water, which somehow transformed the second bullshit magical plot device shoe we've covered on this channel into the first eland, the most sacred of all animals. If you're like me and are wondering what the hell an eland is, it's this thing, and plays a massive role in the Bushmen's very way of life, appearing in 4 of their most key rituals: a boy's first kill, the trance dance, marriage, and a girl's first period. What? I kind of get the first 2, maybe the third considering the spiritual aspects of things, but that last one is just... Well, frankly, it's just plain silly. Alright, so getting back to semi-normalcy here, Kagan was very pleased with this development and decided to raise the eland as one of his own, hiding it away by a cliffside where he fed it honey and rubbed its body down with the remaining honeycomb, causing the animal to glisten beautifully. Wondering where Dad and all the honey went, Kwamanga sent his son Niuapwa, taking the form of a species of wasp called the Ichneumon, some say he was a mongoose, out to investigate. When he reported back to his dad about the eland, he decided to go out and kill it. For no apparent reason. Upon seeing his favorite animal getting cut into pieces, Kagan wept for his loss before proceeding to punish his sons for his transgressions. First, Kagan told Kwamanga to take a pot, pour the animal's blood into it, and churn it. What this was supposed to accomplish, I haven't the foggiest idea. Anyway, Kwamanga stirred the pot a bit too fast and some of the blood spilled out onto the ground, which became the impure serpents. Kagan told him to start over, but this time add a piece of the creature's heart to the mix, then pour it over the ground. Whether intentional or not, this time the blood produced a whole herd of eland, which not only improved Kagan's mood, but also his curiosity. So this time, he took out a stick and started prodding the original eland's gallbladder, which then burst open, unleashing darkness upon the earth for the very first time. Again, for some reason. The original humans, now in a panic because they literally couldn't see one another, decided to go ahead and do that one thing Kang told them not to do and started building fires for warmth and light, which ended up spooking all the animals and caused them to flee from the side of humanity, wandering off to go live in the wilderness, cutting off humans from being able to communicate with them and transfer their souls into the bodies of animals, and simultaneously trapping those who were already inhabiting the body of another creature to live in there forevermore. Realizing that he fucked up, Kagan threw his own shoe into the sky, transforming it into the moon, retroactively solving the light problem, but then incurred the jealousy of the sun, who then proceeded to chase the moon across the sky, occasionally catching up with the celestial object, where he would stab it, causing the moon to die and then decay down to its backbone, meaning a waning crescent. I'd like to point out that this is in fact the third bullshit magical plot device shoe that we have covered on this channel. I'm thinking about starting a counter up in the right hand corner. However, the moon was born with the miraculous power of resurrection, where it would completely die, but then come back a few nights later before being restored to his original form. Now originally, the moon was more than happy to share this power of immortality with the humans. Kind of like a weird sort of compensation for indirectly being responsible for why the sky got dark at night. That is, until he came across a human in the form of a hare who was weeping for his mother's death, who was not convinced that she would ever come back to life despite the moon telling him so. An argument then arose between the two beings, and this one singular little spout ruined eternal life for everyone, and the moon essentially told humanity to fuck off and die. And now we do. Seeing his whole creation go to shit, Kang decided to up and leave, meaning that yes, according to the Bushmen, God has quite literally forsaken us. which might just be the most accurate thing any creation story has ever told us. Thank you all so much for watching today's video, assuming Susan lets it stay up. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, why not help out the channel by leaving a like and subscribing if you haven't already. As always, I'd like to shill out my Discord and Patreon. Links to those will be in the description down below. And hey, thanks to all these names over here for supporting me on Patreon. You guys make a world of difference. If you have a suggestion for a future video, leave it in the comment section below and I might just get around to doing it. Next time on the channel, as decided by the democratic process, we'll be covering the origins of Zoroastrianism. Until then, I hope you'll all stick around. I'm really happy with how this channel has been growing lately, and I have you guys to thank for all of that. So, again, thank you all so much for watching, and have a God's blessed day.